When we build explorations in the Explore workspace, we can have multiple tabs per exploration, and each of those tabs is going to be a different technique. Now, the thing that combines all these techniques together under one exploration is the variables within the exploration itself. And now these variables, more specifically the segments, are going to be the interesting thing that I want to focus on in this video. Because using segments, we can create segments from each individual technique and we can use them across other techniques within that same exploration. Now, there are two ways we can create segments in an exploration. The first way, as you can see, I've already created two already. We can just click that plus symbol, go through the motions, either using a template or just creating the logic from scratch ourselves. But maybe a more interesting way of creating segments is using the interactivity that the exploration provides us. So for example, here I've got a freeform exploration just plotting event name and event count. And here I can see the scroll event. So this is logged automatically when someone reaches the bottom of a page. So what I can do here is I can right click, and most exploration techniques can do this. I can right click this and there'll be an option to create a segment from the selection. So if I go through that process, it's created me automatically a segment using some logic predefined based on what I've asked it to. So here it's just saying include users where there's been a scroll event. Quite simple, but exactly what I wanted to do, and it saved me the process of having to do that. I can even do that in other techniques, for example, in a funnel exploration. So here's a funnel I've created earlier, and in here it's just a standard e-commerce funnel. We're looking at session start through to enter the checkout through to purchase. And here I can identify that there's actually a big drop off of users that have added their payment information but not actually purchased. So what I can do is I can right click on that cell and I can create a segment of the abandoners of this funnel. And now it's pre-populating the logic which I've used in this funnel, and it's going to be a bit more complicated than the last one we just did, but it's doing exactly the same thing. It's pre-populating all of the logic without me having to create it from scratch. Let's say I'm happy, I can click save. And now I'm going to show you another type of technique, because now we've got a couple of segments that we found interesting. We can combine these together in the segment overlap technique. So if I go and create a new tab in my exploration and use the segment overlap, as it suggests, I can take the existing segments I've got created and I can see the overlap between those users. So which users are part of one segment and another segment. Let's take my abandoners users, my scroll users, and let's take my another segment I've got created beforehand. So this is all users on the Chrome browser. And so now what we can do is we can see the overlap between all three of these segments. So some of them are overlapping completely, and it's creating like a Venn diagram at the top, which we can interact with using our mouse cursor, or we can look at the data table underneath and it highlights the table above, or it highlights the visualization above for us. And now what we can do is we can select one of these and we can create a new segment off the back of the overlap. So here, let's take a look at users that are part of all three segments, and I can right click there and I can create a new segment of the overlap of all three of these existing segments. So this is a kind of cyclical process where I can create visualizations using different techniques. I can explore different users combining different dimensions and metrics, or building funnels, or looking at flows. I can create segments off the back of things that we want to explore a bit further. I can go into the segment overlap and combine these segments together, and even create new segments of the overlap of those users. Remember, once I'm happy, or once I've got to a point where I want to keep a segment to be used outside of this exploration, I can push that into an audience so that I can use it in the reports workspace, or even beyond in things like Looker Studio and Google Ads. So in a nutshell, that is how the interactivity within the explorations works. It all centers around segments, and especially using the segment overlap technique is going to be a really valuable asset, or a really good tool in your tool belt to be able to analyze and explore user data in a bit more detail. Anyway, I hope you enjoy playing with all this. It's a really cool tool to have a play with. Follow along with this example if you want to, or think up your own examples and play with your own data. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one.